All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages: How to Save Your Christian Marriage in 3 Simple Steps. So it really is 3 steps. We're going to go over those today. They are simple. They're not easy to do, but they are simple to follow to build that foundation for a great, intimate, God-centered Christian marriage. So my name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach, and I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So some wins from guys this week. Guys in my program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages, wives are putting their wedding rings back on when they had them off. They're sleeping in the same bed again when they were not sleeping in the same bed before. They're Guys are asking their wives for favors and their wives are saying yes. So this is actually a big one. A lot of times we kind of have a hard time asking our wives to do things for us. A lot of us kind of grew up or just have this mindset that we need to do everything ourselves. So when we start giving our wife the chance to prove she can be there for us, it can be kind of scary. But guys are doing it and they're surprised to find their wife's often very willing to say yes to things. Guys are having increased physical intimacy, which is an important part of marriage. Guys are having increased physical strength. Part of the program is building, it's not a huge focus of the program, but it's a part of it to build that physical strength because it matters. It matters for your own well-being. It matters for attractiveness. So guys are doing that, running marathons, doing cool stuff. Guys are having improved relationships with their kids, saying they've had the best relationship with their kids they've ever had. Because when you learn these skills, besides the physical intimacy piece, the other elements translates to all relationships. For me, Elizabeth and I have had increased cooperation and coordination around parenting. It's been really good, just good teamwork around that. So, what are you trying now? So, if you're trying to save the marriage, if you came across this, you're like, yeah, Mike, how do I save my marriage? I got to save it. My wife is wanting to separate. She's wanting a divorce. Or, yeah, I just want to save it from like this roommate stage that we're in. A lot of this will go about trying to win our wife back. So, and do that by kind of going over the top. Oh, like I neglected her. Now I need to do everything for her. I need to cook. I need to clean. I need to do everything I can to make her happy. Take care of the kids. Provide everything financially. Not ask her for anything. Do everything I can to make her happy. So a lot of guys will do that. Okay, they'll beg her to come back. Please, please. Just I'm lost without you. I need you here. All of that kind of thing. So they'll try all that and they'll do all this stuff and feel like they're doing everything right. I'm just trying to send her love notes, just give her all the reasons why, it's a good idea to come back. And so when that doesn't work though, they'll kind of do the opposite. Okay. They'll start giving her reasons why it's wrong for her to leave. Well, you shouldn't leave because look, it's going to cost us so much financially. You're going to be cut off financially. It's going to damage the kids. Look at all these statistics. Kids from divorced families, they're gonna have more depression and that kind of thing. All this is true, by the way, but I'm going to explain to you why this approach doesn't work. Okay. You're already trying this and it's not working. Guys will cite scriptures to their wives about marriage. Well, look at the sanctity of marriage, and you don't have a real reason to divorce me. I didn't cheat on you, so you don't have a real reason to divorce me. Other people work through this, that kind of stuff. So the reason all this doesn't work is that it's based on something called the mosquito cycle. So the mosquito cycle is this: we do quote unquote nice things for our wife. We try to win her back. We're writing her notes. We're buying her gifts. We're trying to do all the 5 love languages, and we're hoping that, man, maybe she'll see that I'm changing. Maybe she'll, change her mind. Maybe she'll not want to separate. Maybe she'll not want to divorce me. What it boils down to is her kind of like giving you attention, appreciation, affection, and sex. That's what you want. You want her to change her mind. You want her to do something different. Now, what happens is we eventually get frustrated when we don't get it. Man, look at all the work I'm doing. She's not doing anything. I'm working so hard. We get down, we get depressed, right? And then we explode at her like, well, fine, then maybe you should just divorce me and I'm going to cut you off. Or you escape like, oh man, I can't really handle this. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go, just to hang with my buddies. So I don't have to deal with this. I'm going to stay at work all day because I don't feel like coming home. And then you feel guilty about that. You're like, oh man, I really shouldn't have done that. So then you go back, okay, like, let me try to win her back. Let me do all the things, all the right things, all the nice things. And it works for a while. And then you get burnt out, you get frustrated, you get mad. Then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have got mad. And it just is the cycle called the mosquito cycle. So because yeah, you're buzzing around, you're trying to get attention, appreciation, affection, sex from her, you're trying to get her to change her mind, you're trying to get her to come back, and she's like, I just need space. And you're like, well, I want you back. And it just doesn't work. Okay. So marriages fall apart like this. So there are three things that a marriage needs to work, and those are trust, communication, and intimacy. So um, the first thing that breaks down is trust. So when there's low trust, there's a lack of safety. So even this, like trying to save your marriage or trying to win her back, there's actually a problem with it because it's you're making changes, but it's because you want something from her. Okay, you're trying to suck off attention. You're trying to suck off not divorcing you. You're trying to do this to change her mind, right? And so and this can happen over time in lots of ways, right? You can break trust by just not prioritizing her. You can break trust by something big like pornography or affairs or that sort of thing. Um, so, yeah, that lack of trust, it just happens over time. And she just starts thinking, man, I just don't really feel safe with you. You're doing these nice things, but I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with it. So she'll say things like, I don't trust you. I don't feel close to you. I don't feel safe with you. You're a narcissist. She'll say stuff like that. Okay. So lack of safety, when she doesn't feel safe with you, okay, she starts, that creates a poor communication because she doesn't really feel comfortable sharing who she is and what's important to her um, when you are not a safe person. She doesn't feel safe with you. So that leads to low mental and emotional intimacy. So when you have low mental and emotional intimacy, you have frequent fights. You can't get to win-win agreements. You hear stuff from her like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, meaning I don't really feel a connection with you, and I don't feel safe with you either, probably. Um, so there's just no mentally and emotional intimacy. You feel like roommates or less. Or, yeah, if you're in that separation or divorce phase, maybe you're just fighting or you're just not even talking at all. But again, it goes back to this lack of trust and lack of safety that she feels. Okay. So when you have low mental and emotional intimacy, then there's low physical intimacy. Okay, because when she doesn't feel safe with you, she doesn't feel connected to you, she doesn't feel like you know her, that you're interested in her, you can't get to win-win agreements, you feel like roommates. Okay, if she doesn't trust you, she doesn't feel safe with you, she doesn't feel connected to you. Usually, she doesn't want to be physically intimate with you. Okay, and so then you start getting to feel more like roommates. Sometimes that can trigger infidelity when there's low physical intimacy. Also, emotional affairs happen when there's low mental and emotional intimacy because we all want that. We all want to feel supported by somebody. We want to feel connected with somebody. If we're not feeling that in the marriage, we sometimes will go look for that somewhere else. Um, so, yeah, again, low trust, low safety leads to poor communication because you don't feel safe with each other. That leads to low physical intimacy, then a roommate type feeling, then separation, then start talking separation, then divorce. So the good news is we can build these pillars back up. Like these are the pillars you need: trust, communication, intimacy. So we can build them back up using strong men, strong marriages, the strong men, strong marriages system. Okay. So step one is rebuilding trust. Okay. But how do you do that? You're like, yeah, man, I want to do that. My wife says she can't trust me. She doesn't feel safe with me, but I don't know what to do here. So this is all about the strong men phase of strong men, strong marriages. You need to build internal strength across a few different areas. So, um, spiritual strength, mental strength, emotional strength, physical strength. Okay. Building strength in those areas is what will help her trust you. So, the mosquito cycle, what it's built on at the core, is really needing her approval to feel good about yourself, right? So, you need her to come back because you need her to not separate, you need her not to not divorce you, in part because there's not a lot of financial implications to that. But the reason you're so stressed out about it is because you need her to be there for you. You need her to approve of you. You're having a hard time standing on your own. David Schnarch, famous psychologist, says your wife can prop up your ego or your penis, but not both. So, like, if you're very dependent on your wife to feel good about yourself, you need her to build you up. You need her to be around so you can feel strong enough, good enough. Okay, you're in trouble, right? So, what you need to do is build your spiritual strength. You need to increase your self worth by connecting with God. So really like spending time with God each day and letting him see you and letting yourself feel that relationship, that you're a beloved son of God, that he loves you just because you are, right? Just because you exist. That's why he loves you. Okay. So when you start doing that, you start feeling like, okay, like I can relax a little bit. I'm okay. Like God's going to take care of me. I'm going to be all right. So now you're not quite as needy for her to come back or to tell you you're great or anything like that. Okay. So you can start settling. And now, instead of saying, I need space, she's like, huh, he's kind of managing. He's not quite as needy for me to tell him he's great or tell him I'm coming back or anything like that. So she can start to relax a little bit. So next we need to start boosting your self-esteem and self-confidence. So your self-esteem is how you talk to yourself. So instead of being like, oh, I'm such a failure and I messed this up and I can't believe I did this to my family, right? You say things like, no, like I'm valuable, I made mistakes, yeah, that's okay. I can get through that. I've got through things before. And then you boost your self confidence by being a man of your word, right? And doing and accomplishing things. That's how you build self confidence. So making and keeping promises, that's the biggest way you rebuild trust. The rest of the stuff helps too, because it helps her feel safe because you're strong inside yourself. Okay. But making and keeping promises, making keep small promises, saying no a little bit more. When you can't do something, just tell her no instead of saying, yeah, I'll do it and then not. That breaks trust. Okay. And that breaks self confidence as well. So that's all elements of spiritual strength: self worth, self esteem, self confidence. So we build those up. So now you're feeling good, right? You're feeling good about who you are as a person, right? You're not as needy for her to give you attention, appreciation, affection because you're already feeling okay with yourself. Not just okay, but good about who you are as a son of God. So the other part of the mosquito cycle is poor control of thoughts and emotions, right? So, we're needy for her approval and then we get frustrated and then we explode or we escape, right? So that's poor control of thoughts and emotions. So what we need to do is learn how to manage our thoughts well. So we're not going to those negative emotional spots as much. And then also when we do, because we are still going to be frustrated sometimes, we are going to be angry sometimes, we are going to feel sad about our mistakes sometimes, and that's fine. We just need to be able to feel and release those emotions in healthy ways. Most guys don't have a good way to do that. Okay. So you need to learn how to do that. So instead of cycling through this mosquito cycle, taking your emotions out on everybody or stuffing them in forever, and then people are like, what's wrong with you? Right? You're able to release them in healthy ways. Okay. And the other part is getting physically fit and healthy because that has a big impact on your mind, on your emotions, all of that. Okay. So step one, become a strong man. And all doing that is what rebuilds this first pillar of trust. So we build that spiritual strength by having solid self-worth, self-confidence, and self-esteem. Okay. Self-worth and self-confidence. So we're not as needy and trying to get stuff from her. Okay. That makes her feel safer with us. When your wife says she needs space, she doesn't exactly need space from you. She needs space from these mosquito behaviors and mindsets that you're trying to get something from her all the time. Um, like there's a difference between trying to give your wife a hug and trying to get to take a hug from your wife. And I think you know the difference, right? If you're just like full of love and you go up to your wife and give her a hug, that feels different than when you're like, oh, I want to know if we're okay, so I'm going to try to give her a hug and I hope she gives me one back, right? That anxious, needy energy is not as attractive to her. Okay. So again, building that internal self-confidence or self-esteem, self-worth, right? Self-confidence, that's spiritual strength. Making, keeping promises, that's spiritual strength. So now she's feeling safer with you. Okay. Mental and emotional strength. Now I'm not taking my emotions out on her. I'm not stuffing stuff in. Okay. And then physical strength is just physically attractive, right? And feels better to you. So building spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical strength, they're attracted to your wife. She starts feeling safer. She starts trusting you. So that's great. So that's part one of the strong man, strong marriages system is rebuilding trust by building your internal strength, becoming a strong man. Okay. So now that you're a strong, attractive man, we need to work on strong marriages, part two. So this is where we build the second two pillars, communication and intimacy. So we start with building communication. Okay. So now your wife is feeling safe with you. Okay. She's going to start opening up to you more at this point. She's going to want to be around you more. She's going to seek you out instead of you having to chase her around all the time. Okay. So now you need not just to be able to manage your thoughts and emotions well and have good self-worth, self-esteem, this is where you need to build some skills, right? And building self-confidence. So you need to be ready to respond well. So being able to listen when she talks, get into her shoes, even when she's talking about your past mistakes, or even when she's angry with you, okay? And that requires a high degree of self control, right? Management of your thoughts and emotions. Okay? So you also need to learn to express your thoughts and feelings well. A lot of us as men, we haven't really practiced that very much. We're not very good at expressing our thoughts and feelings very well to our wife. So we need to practice it. We need to get good at that. Okay? You need to learn how to ask for what you want, set appropriate boundaries. Some of us are pretty good at that, maybe in other areas, but not as much in our marriage. So we need to get good at those things. Okay? And then we need to learn how do we work towards win-win agreements with things like money, sex, in-laws, parenting, religion, housework, and time. How do we both listen to her, understand her side, and express our side, and then work as a team to find agreements that really we both feel good about? Okay. When you can do that, you're just an unbreakable team. You are in a great, great spot. The other thing that starts happening now is she feels safe, right? And she's like, he's not going to freak out. When I bring up his past mistakes, he's not going to get defensive and tell me all my mistakes. He's actually going to listen and try to get into my shoes. Okay, she starts feeling safe. She's going to start sharing deeper things with you. Not just the hurts, but the fun and what's going on and stuff she's anxious about at work. And you guys are going to start becoming those best friends again, start sharing at deep levels and have that mental and emotional intimacy, right? So you go from feeling disconnected, cold, roommates, right, to feeling connected, relaxed, and friendly. You come home to someone that you know has your back, right? So, yeah, Sue Johnson, a famous marriage researcher and therapist, she talks about how really trying to answer this question in couples, like, are you there for me? Do I matter to you? And so in this communication part, this is where you can say, yeah, like, I'm going to show you, you do matter to me. You are important to me. I am going to listen to you. I do value you. I'm going to show up for you, right? That's all happening in this communication phase. And it takes some skill and it takes some practice. And this is what we teach you in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Okay. So this is what builds mental and emotional intimacy. You're in a good spot, right? You feel like friends. You're having fun together. You're laughing again, right? And when that happens, right, when your wife trusts you, she feels safe with you, and you feel like best friends. You have that deep mental and emotional intimacy. You're laughing, you're joking, you're enjoying time together. Physical intimacy tends to follow pretty naturally. You can start holding hands again. You can start kissing again, right? That moves into having sex again, right? But as part of the program, we also need to kind of look and see, do we have some negative patterns around sex that we need to change? And with all of these, right, with trust, with communication, with intimacy, we've got to find those negative patterns. We got to change them, and then we got to practice the new patterns. Okay, that's what we do in the program. So some common negative patterns guys have learned around sex, especially Christian guys. So one is like just asking for sex without bringing fun or flirting first. You just roll over in bed. Hey, you want to have sex tonight? Typically doesn't work that well. So you need to learn some new strategies there. When your wife says no, pouting, getting upset, walking away, you know, I've done all that stuff, but it's not attractive. Turning to pornography, right? So also not attractive. Feeling like she owes it to you. Okay, we're married. I save myself till marriage, so like this is part of the deal. You're supposed to be having sex with me now. So, or like look at everything I do. I provide financially. I, take care of the kids. I clean. I do all this. This is the one thing I want from you, and you won't do it. So what that's really saying is you owe it to me. Like I've earned it by doing this stuff. Okay? That's not attractive to her. So instead of doing all that, you're going to learn how to approach sex in a way that expresses your passion and love for her in a way that's strong, attractive, romantic, right? That makes her excited to be with you and attracted to you and gets her aroused, right? And creates that sexual relationship that makes marriage special. Okay. So that's what you have to do. Okay. So when you do this, your daily life shifts, right? Instead of waking up feeling distant from your wife, you wake up with a smile on your face because you're like, man, there's somebody that I love, that we're connecting on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Going from a cold or no goodbye when you're on the way to work to a hug and a kiss goodbye when you're on your way to work. Going from no communication throughout the day, or her just like being upset with you or just telling you like go do something, to kind text telling you that she's proud of you, that she loves you, that she's looking forward to you coming home. Going from her saying she loves you but she's not in love with you, to her being passionately in love with you. Okay? From her saying that she doesn't want the kids to be like you or to marry someone like you, to her saying that she'd love for the boys to be like you. and for the girls to marry someone just like you one day. From being on your phones at night, disconnected, to having intimate and deep conversations with laughter and fun. From going to bed in separate rooms or not touching each other at all in bed, to having passionate intimacy. Okay? You just have to follow the steps. That's it. Rebuild trust, communication, intimacy. So trust is all about being that strong man, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually strong, so she can trust you, so she can feel safe with you, so you're not in that mosquito cycle. And then you build these skills of communication and intimacy, and that's what builds a strong marriage. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's all you have to do. It's simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. So trust leads to her feeling safe. Okay, trust is built by becoming a strong man, by building spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical strength. Okay, then we need to build a strong marriage. So we need to bring in communication and intimacy skills. So once you can communicate well, you build mental and emotional intimacy. You feel safe, you feel like friends, you're enjoying time together again. And then you bring that fun, flirting, and passion that leads to the physical intimacy that makes marriage special. Okay. And really, to me, guys, the biggest key is this. Like, could you say right now that you would love for your kids to have a marriage like yours? If that's a no, you need to do something, right? You owe it to your kids to do something because you want to set that example for future generations. Um, and I can tell you, like, I couldn't have said that not that long ago, really, but now I can. Like, I would love for my kids to have a marriage like mine, and I want you to be able to say that too, and for you to really set that example for generations to follow. And as a Christian, right, we're supposed to be the example to the world of like what can be. So, like, if our marriage isn't good, that's a problem, right? We want people to be drawn to our lives because we're examples of love. You know, I was reading a book recently, it just talks about how The Way by John Mark Comer is the book, but it talks about how the main way we can tell if we're disciples of Christ is we should be increasing in love over time. So especially love for our wife, right? Um, so if you would like help in saving your Christian marriage, okay, visit strongmen.io or click the link in the show notes, and we'd love to help you. We'd love to help you restore trust, build communication, build intimacy, all with a Christian framework. Strengthen your relationship with God is a big part of this. So, yeah, if that matches you and this is something you want to do, you want to save your Christian marriage, come visit us, strongmen.io, or click the link in the show notes. We will see you there. All right, stay strong, men. We'll see you next episode.